Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Uncle and the Carbuncle. This is our Christmas show. We wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah and a healthy and happy 2020. We're going to talk about the off-season moves this episode. So go ahead, Chris. You start.
My favorite, personally, for those of you who have been following us so far, you all know I'm a Mets fan. So my favorite, personally, so far has been Dellin Betances. I think he adds a new layer to the bullpen that the Mets so desperately needed. He's an eighth inning guy and a very solid eighth inning guy at that. I think there's a low risk, high reward signing. Only 1 year, 10 million could get up to 13.4 million if he appears in 70 games, which is likely. I think he will. And I think with him in the eighth inning, and then Lugo and Diaz to pitch the ninth innings as their closers, Lugo more often until Diaz gets back to what he was, if he does, which hopefully he will. I think Betances brings the Mets to honestly a new level, not not like Dodgers level. Obviously, you're a Dodgers fan, not Dodgers or Astros, but I think they could be a real wild card contender this year. They are in the toughest division in baseball still, so it's going to be tough. I think they need to do a little bit more, maybe another outfielder signing this offseason, and we'll see what happens the rest of the offseason. We're only about halfway done with it. What is your take on it?
Okay, here's my take. You're a typical Met fan. You think Dylan Betances was the most important signing over the winter.
He was.
Okay. We had Strasburg, we had Garrett Cole, we had Anthony Rendon, but you think Dylan Betances. Well, look, here's the deal. Betances isn't a closer. He tried to close with the Yankees. It didn't work out well.
Eighth inning,
Okay? To think that he can appear in 70 games, I think is really a reach. I mean, he appeared in two batters last year. He's a big guy. And, in order for him to come back, there's a lot of things that could go wrong. I do agree with you. It's a low risk, high reward. It's a 1 year deal. And if he returns to his form of previous years, I think it'll be a great signing for them. But the Met problem wasn't the eighth inning. The Met problem was the ninth inning. In the ninth inning, you still got Diaz. They're going to give Diaz another run at this thing. And, the thing with relievers is sometimes they change dramatically from year to year. So maybe he does return to form. And if he does, then I think the Mets will be a force. I think they'll be a force in the wild card. And, if all breaks right, they might have a chance to win the division as well. I think there's a chance that could happen. I don't think it's a great chance because I don't think they're the best team. I think they're the third best team, or maybe the fourth best team in that division. But I do think that they have a chance.
Okay, I never said Dylan Betances was the best free agent signing of the entire offseason. I said it was my favorite, so let's get that straightened out real quick. Plus,
We're going to have to play the tape again.
I don't really think that the Mets are the fourth team. I think they're the second best team in the division. I think only Atlanta's better than them. Washington coming off the World Series, obviously, I'm going to get called crazy for saying Washington's not.
You are crazy. That's why you're going to get called crazy.
The Mets won the season series against Washington.
What does that? That means nothing.
It means nothing. It means a lot.
It means zero.
It means a lot.
When you get to October, that doesn't mean a darn thing.
Okay, well maybe
it was 1 year where the Dodgers beat the Phillies 11 out of 12, and the Phillies beat them in the playoffs. So that doesn't matter. Yes, Nobody cares about it.
The Mets are going to be second in the division this year.
Folks, we're going to have to take a timeout while I smack my partner here. I got to smack the nonsense out of him. And to think that they're better than the Phils and they're better than Washington they're better than Atlanta, silly.
I said Atlanta's first.
Yeah, Atlanta's first, and the Mets are fourth, and that's that. That's a fact.
We'll see.
All right, fine, idiot.
Okay, on to the biggest news of the signing.
Go ahead.
Steven Strasburg returning to his former team, returning to the Nationals after a World Series. I think it was the right move for him. What are your takes on it? What are the details of that?
I don't think he would have gotten a better deal, at his age with the history of arm issues that he has. I think that's as good as he could have gotten. So I think that was a good deal for him. The Garrett Cole deal was crazy. However, it's only money, and the Yankees needed that ace at the top. They have too many question marks in their pitching staff. However, with Cole now, the pitching staff has a chance to be outstanding because if some of the pitchers that are coming back from injury or suspension, in the case of Herman, If Severino comes back, then they'll really have a tremendous starting staff to go with their world-class bullpen.
Will Garrett Cole be the same at Yankee Stadium though?
I think if he pitched the way he pitched last year, I think he could pitch in any stadium. Um, he was really, really impressive.
A lot of strikeouts. You're right about
Impressive,
that.
yeah. I think he should have got the Cy Young. I know he didn't, but I think he should have. What did he have? 316 strikeouts and 200.
Yes, but Verlander had a no hitter and only like 30 less strikeouts.
No hitter is, one freaky game. A lot of things have to go right for that no hitter, and not all of it is dependent upon the pitcher.
Yeah.
But anyway, in any event, okay. What else? What else do we have? How about the trade market now? What do we think is going to happen? Any big trades you foresee coming?
Honestly, not really. I think there's a few more signings that could happen, but trade wise, I think we'll see not that many big trades. There might be a few small ones here and there, but no superstar big like bank breakers.
Okay. As many of you know, Christian is my nephew and I love him, but he just doesn't know baseball the way he thinks he knows baseball.
I do know baseball.
Here's,
I just think
excuse
differently.
me, this is my time. I didn't interrupt you. See, that's another thing these millennials have. They just like to talk.
I'm Gen
As
Z.
long as everything is good. Gen Z, Gen X, I don't care what you are. All right, here's the deal. I think there is going to be at least one major trade. I'm not sure if it'll be Mookie Betts or Francisco Lindor, but I think those trades are going to be made. And if not now, they'll be made July 31st. But I think that the new GM in Boston, Bloom, has his marching orders to reduce payroll, and he's going to try to reduce it by getting rid of David Price. But honestly, who's going to latch on to David Price at 3 years and 96 million? Nobody. So even if they eat half of it, I think they're still going to have some difficulty moving Price because he's been a cancer in that clubhouse since he got there. But Mookie Betts makes perfect sense. He's only got 1 year left. Then he's going to be a free agent. He said he wants to be a free agent. He's going to test the waters. So they need to see what they can get for him. And also, they'll take $26 million or so off their payroll, which, he's under direct orders to do. The other thing with Lindor is he's got 2 years left, but Cleveland has a history of getting rid of guys a year or two before they're going to lose them because they just can't sign them all in the market that they're in. And Lindor is a top 10 player. He plays a premium position. He's hit over 100 home runs in the last 3 years. He steals 20, 25 bases every year. He's a premier defensive player. I mean, he's the goods. He doesn't strike out like some of these guys strike out. He's an outstanding player, and they can get a real good haul for him. And I know there's been a lot written about him going to Los Angeles to play for the Dodgers. I could see that happening. The Dodgers certainly have the pieces to get it done. They will not trade Gavin Lux, and that's been a sticking point, I think. But they could put something together with Dustin May and catcher they have Kybert Ruiz, since Will Smith is going to do their catching, and maybe Jock Peterson, who hit 34, 36 home runs last year. And they need an outfielder there. So, look, they can put it together if they want to, and I think there's been enough smoke to I think there might be a little fire there.
Do you really think Cleveland's going to deal Lindor after getting rid of Kluber, though?
Yeah, well, you know what? I think they still need to. Here's the question they have to ask themselves: can they sign him? And I don't think they can. I don't think that they'll be able to pay 30 plus million for Lindor long term.
Cleveland was in the wild card chase last year.
Mm.
I just honestly don't think they're going to get rid of Lindor this year. I just don't see it happening because if they do that, they're pretty much in a rebuilding phase now. They just won't be the same team after dealing Kluber to Texas, and if they get rid of Lindor, they won't be the same.
Well, they still have plenty of pitching. I mean, they've got Clevenger, who's really good. I mean, when he's healthy, he's a top 10 pitcher, I think, and he's only 27. They still have a lot of stuff, and in that division, I don't know.
Pitching, yeah.
I think they're strong. I still think they're strong, but they have to plan for the future. And if it is a tear down, then it's a tear down.
If I were them, I would get rid of Jose Ramirez instead.
Yeah. Well, he's not going to get you the return
but that still get to keep Lindor as a bonus for getting rid of Ramirez. Lindor's not a guy you could just let walk. They have to get a big deal for him.
There's no question. There's no question. They've got to get plenty back, and they can get a haul for him, especially since he's got 2 years. The thing with Mookie Betts is they won't get nearly the haul. They'll get some Midland prospects. I mean, Midland. I mean, top 25 prospects, but maybe 10 to 25 in a team. But if they allow them a 72-hour window to sign them, and they are able to sign them to a long-term deal, then they can get a better haul, which I think Boston would probably agree to because they're looking for better young players.
What are some target teams you think Mookie Betts might land on?
I think a great team for him would be the Mets. I don't see it happening, though, because I don't think the Mets have the pieces anymore to get it done. I read an article this morning that there was talk in L.A. that in addition to Lindor, the Dodgers might make a deal for Mookie Betts. They could. They've got the pieces to do it. I'm not sure whether they'll want to, trade that many young chips, but they could do it. Other teams. I mean, the White Sox need an power hitting outfielder. There are teams that have the need and can get it done. Maybe a team like the Braves, who have the chips to get it done. It's a matter of need. And look, everybody can make room for a guy like Mookie Betts. He's a Gold Glove power hitter, MVP. Yeah, I mean, and he's coming into his prime. So people will make room for him. The question is, do you have the goods to get it done, to get the deal done?
It could happen. Back to the NL East with the Phillies. The Phillies recently signed Joe Girardi, which will take over Gabe Kapler's spot as the manager for that team. I honestly wish the Mets would have gotten him.
Why do you think the Mets didn't get him?
They don't. I don't know, because they want someone they can micromanage.
Because Brody Van Wagenen is a pussy. That's why. That's why he's a pussy.
Joe Girardi knows baseball more than him, and he's scared of that. He's scared of having someone that's smarter than him in the clubhouse.
Absolutely agree.
And then they recently signed Didi Gregorius to a 1-year, I believe it was $14 million deal, which is great for them. They needed a shortstop. Gene Segura will play second base now.
Mm-hmm.
I think Didi to your team, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Will they be as good as the Mets? I don't know. Probably not. I just think the Mets have way better pitching, which is why they win a lot of games. But the Phillies...
Here he goes again, folks. Go ahead.
I'm sure a lot of people listening right now agree with me.
Yeah. A lot of people in Queens probably agree with you. Look.
A lot of people with common sense.
At the end of the day, you idiot. At the end of the day, I think Phillies have... Well, you need to hear it. I think Philadelphia has just as much talent. They have more talent on the offensive side of the ball, less talent in pitching. Yeah, he's sitting here shaking his head, folks. He's a typical. What are you, Gen Y, Gen Z?
Let me list
he's
off.
Gen Z.
Let me list off a few names for you.
Who thinks baseball started in 2010?
That is not true. Let me list off a few names for you.
Go ahead.
J.D. Davis batted over 300 after the All-Star break.
He has no position, by the way.
He's
a butcher. He's a butcher wherever they put him.
They could put him wherever. Ahmed Rosario is developing nicely as a shortstop.
The last 2 months, he looked good.
Batted over 300.
First 3 months, not so good.
After the All-Star break, he batted 320 after that. Pete Alonso, Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
53 homers.
Yep. No question about
Rookie record. If he get that average above 280, he batted only 260 something last year. Not the best, still had a lot of homers.
Yeah, but you could live with that. If he's hitting 53 home runs, he can hit 260.
True, but if he didn't, that would be scary. Michael Conforto.
Conforto's hit or miss. He's a nice player. He's not great.
Jeff McNeil, who was in contention for a batting title up until the last 2 months of the season.
McNeil's a nice player.
I think he'll be the everyday second baseman in New York.
I don't know if he can play second, but okay.
He can.
Okay.
He's very good at it.
We'll see.
And the pitching,
Go ahead.
Jacob deGrom, Noah Syndergaard, they lost Wheeler to the Phillies.
All right, Jacob deGrom, the great pitcher, maybe the best. Maybe the best in the NL.
Best in the NL, definitely.
Syndergaard?
Syndergaard, he's not Jacob DeGrom level, but I think he's top 10.
Oh my God!
Who's
Doctor,
better?
call a
In the
nurse for
National
this
League.
man.
In the
Are you
National League.
kidding me?
In the National
Are
League.
you kidding me?
Who's better in the National League? A
Ja-
few people.
Yeah,
But like
Syndergaard?
top 10. I think he's like 8 or 9.
What were his numbers last year?
I think he's like 8 or 9.
You can't just say.
I've
I
watched
think it was 8 or 9. Document it. Let me see. What are his numbers last year? Because he got wrapped around a lot.
It was an off year. The year before that.
Oh,
he had
it's
a
an off
career
year. Come on.
Everyone's allowed to have an off year. Happens, right?
Well, that's what he is right now. That's what he is. What were his numbers last year? Go ahead.
10 and 8,
10 and 8.
4.2 ERA.
4.2. Listen to me, folks. 4.2. Go
He
ahead.
was coming off.
And this is in the National League.
He was coming off.
Not coming off. Go ahead. Give me the rest of the numbers.
Okay. Well, first I think we should start with he was coming off the 3 years before that 2.6 ERA.
3 years. We're going back 3 years. Go ahead.
2.6 ERA, 2.97 and 3.03, which isn't bad at all.
So he's been trending in the wrong direction, and now he's over 4.
Okay,
he-
well, a guy like him isn't just going to keep going up. He's
Why
going to
not?
bounce back.
Why not? Why
'Cause
would
he's
he
got
bounce
the stuff.
back?
He
He's
throws
never
90,
showed.
He throws 98 miles an hour.
He threw
in
98
the
miles
eighth
an hour
inning.
last year. His ERA was 4.2.
Last year, while watching a bunch of his games, I noticed his stuff was a little bit flat, which he just needs to get on top of that. I think the pitching coach they have, the old guy, he's going to be very good. And he's
The
gonna-
old guy.
Yeah,
You're not talking about Phil Reagan, are you?
he's old.
He's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah, he's not their pitching coach. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to apologize for my partner. We're going to have to pick this up on the next podcast we do. This is the Uncle in the Carbuncle signing off.
Syndergaard is top 10. Have a good day.